Hello, it's another glorious May morning. It's the 20th of May. The sun's so bright that the curtains are closed because of the sunshine spoiling the filming. There are two things I want to talk very briefly about this morning. Firstly, I want to talk about the saint we remember today, Alcuin. Alcuin, who many people have never heard about, and I only know a little bit more about because when I was a canon at the cathedral, the third time I was a canon there, the stall I sat in was the stall of St Alcuin. It was the subdean stall at Wakefield. And I thought, well, I know a bit about him. He was from York and he went to the Europe, but I ought to know a little bit more. He was born around 735 and he was educated by a man called Aelbert, who ran the cathedral school in York and who went on to become the archbishop. Aelbert had been educated by the Venerable Bede. You can see the procession here, the Venerable Bede, who most of us in England know because of his history of the English church and people, Aelbert and then Alcuin. And when Aelbert became the archbishop, Alcuin became the head of the school. But he also travelled widely, and on a journey back from Rome, he met Charlemagne, King of the Franks, the Holy Roman Emperor, as it was called. And Charlemagne was struck by the qualities of Alcuin and invited him to become part of his court, part of his administration. And he effectively became the Minister of Education. What a quaint idea to have someone who knows about teaching become the Minister of Education for the empire. And he was instrumental in a lot of things. I'm going to say them very quickly. Establishing a parish school in many places with the priest as the teacher, so that there was a fundamental rudimentary education. He was responsible for the collation and preservation of many of the ancient prayers of the church. He wrote loads of commentaries and he did lots and lots of things. It was a very industrious time. And so he contributed to education, to liturgy, to study. When he was 60, just over 60, he wanted to retire. And his retirement job was to become the abbot of a monastery. What some people would think the highest part of anyone's career was his retirement job. He was a polymath. He was an amazing person. And we don't know enough about him. A young boy born near York who had an influence throughout Europe and reminds us of the international and cross-boundary influence of the church then and now. So we give thanks for him, and we give thanks for all that he did. But I want to not neglect just a little passage that we also get today. In St. John's Gospel, chapter 17, we've talked about this high priestly prayer of Jesus. And at the heart of this prayer is this. Let me just read it to you. Sorry, I haven't got my reading glasses. I'm going to take the other glasses off. I ask not only on behalf of these, but also on behalf of those who will believe in me through their word, that they may be all one. As you, Father, are in me and I am in you, may they also be in us, that the world may believe that you have sent me. Jesus prays for the unity of Christians as a witness to the world. Now, it's interesting because some of the biggest arguments we see in the church are between different people of different groups, and that can be a scandal to the outside world. When Jesus prays for unity, I don't think he prays for uniformity. There are differences. I'm an Anglican, I suppose, because I was brought up in an Anglican situation. But I'm also an Anglican by conviction and by opportunity. But that doesn't mean to say that I have to, or I'm required to believe that Catholics or Orthodox or Methodists or Baptists are evil or anti-Christian. We're all capable of being anti-Christian in our churches. But I do have to respect that all of these denominations are representatives of Christ. And that seems to me to be the greatest gift that unity can have. A mutual respect and a mutual acknowledgement of our Christianity. And those zealots within each grouping who say, it can only be this way, it can only be our way, it seems to me, are the ones who cast the shadow on what Jesus came to bring. Our unity is because we seek to follow Christ. Our diversity is because we work in different contexts and we have different spiritualities. But the unity has to triumph. If I can respect other Christians, then that is building up the unity that Christ wants. We may and we should disagree sometimes over our practices, but that does not disturb the essential unity we have in seeking to model Christ and to share Christ with the world and to pray in the world to Christ for our neighbours. May God bless us.